My neighbor died on a Tuesday. I know because that was the day the building manager put the yellow tape across his door. Unit 7B. The guy was quiet, kept to himself. I barely knew his name. By Friday night, something felt wrong. His window, the one directly across the small courtyard from mine, was still lit, just a soft, steady glow. I remember thinking it was strange. The manager, Mr. Henderson, had told me they cut the power to the unit for safety, so that light shouldn't have been on. I tried to ignore it, chalk it up to a reflection or something. But then, at 2:17 in the morning, it flickered. Not like a bad bulb, but like someone inside had blinked. Slowly. I told myself it was nothing. A timer light someone forgot. Bad wiring having one last gasp. Anything but what it felt like. A few minutes later, the curtain moved. Just a little. A slow, careful shift, like a hand drawing back the fabric to get a better look outside. I couldn't see a person, but the feeling of being watched was immediate and heavy. My skin prickled. That's when my phone buzzed. It was sitting on my nightstand, screen dark. When I picked it up, there was a notification I'd never seen before. A new app icon had just appeared on my home screen. It wasn't there a minute ago, I swear. It had no name, just a simple, white line drawing of a window. I hadn't downloaded it. I hadn't even touched my phone. Before I could process it, the app opened on its own. The screen lit up with a live camera view. But it wasn't my camera. The perspective was impossible. It was a perfect, steady shot of my neighbor's window, framed as if the phone were hovering in the air between our buildings. The image was crystal clear, way too good for my old phone. In the top corner, the word live glowed in red next to a timer that was counting up. It read, 3 days, 4 hours, and 22 minutes. 3 days. My stomach twisted into a knot. A message popped up in the middle of the feed. White text on a black bar. It just said, "Look closer." My heart was hammering. I should have thrown the phone, closed the app, anything. But I didn't. My thumb moved on its own, pinching the screen to zoom in. The curtain in the video shifted again. This time something pressed against the glass from inside. It wasn't a face. It was just a pale, blurred shape, like seeing skin through a foggy shower door. My phone vibrated once in my hand, a low, satisfied hum. Then another message. "Now open your window." I let out a shaky laugh. It was absurd. But my hand was already reaching for the latch on my own window. It always stuck, but this time, when I pulled, it slid open with an eerie smoothness it had never had before. A slice of cold night air slid into my room. And with it, a sound, a soft, almost polite tapping, not on my door. On my window? 3 distinct taps, echoing the rhythm I thought I'd heard from his apartment a few nights ago. I stumbled back from the window, my breath catching in my throat. My phone buzzed again. This time the message didn't come from a number or a contact. It appeared right over the live feed, from the window app itself. "Don't turn around." I froze, staring at my own dark reflection in the window pane in front of me. My reflection looked normal. Scared, wide-eyed, then it blinked. I hadn't blinked. It blinked again, a slow, deliberate movement, like it was practicing, getting the hang of it. I held my breath. And then my reflection smiled, a wide, unnatural grin. I wasn't smiling. The tapping came again, closer this time, as if whatever was out there was feeling for the edges of the frame. Suddenly, the live feed on my phone switched. It wasn't showing his window anymore. It was showing my window, from the outside. My bedroom light was a bright square in the darkness. And I could see myself standing there, phone clutched in my hand, staring out. But in the video feed, I wasn't alone in my room. There was a second figure standing right behind me. Tall, impossibly thin, and perfectly still. I whipped my head around. The room was empty. Just me. My heart was a drum against my ribs. I looked back at the phone. The figure was still there in the video, right behind my on-screen self. Unmoving. A new message crawled across the screen. "The camera sees what you won't." My throat felt tight, and it hurt to swallow. The tapping on my window changed. It became a slow, deliberate scraping, like a single fingernail drawing a line on the glass. I watched, mesmerized, as a faint, foggy mark started to form on the pane. Letters appeared, written from the outside, so they were backwards at first. Then, as if realizing their mistake, they corrected themselves. Latin, borrow. Your view. My phone buzzed one more time, a heavy, urgent vibration. If you read it out loud, it's yes. I realized with a jolt of horror that my lips were already moving, silently forming the words I had just read. I clapped my hand over my mouth. Too late. The app flashed a tiny warning in the corner. Audio detected. Instantly, the scraping stopped. The silence was deafening. It felt like it was listening, waiting for the permission it had just tricked me into giving. In the live feed on my phone, the tall figure behind me slowly tilted its head. On the screen, it leaned closer to my ear. And even though my real room was silent, a cold spot bloomed on the side of my head. A whisper seemed to slide directly into my thoughts, a voice that felt like cold glass. Just 1 minute. 1 minute of your eyes. My phone screen dimmed and then flared back to life. A new button had appeared. A big green button that said, Share View, and under it, a timer. It was already counting down from 60 seconds, 59, 58. I frantically tried to close the app, to lock my phone, to power it down. Nothing worked. The screen was frozen on that countdown. The angles of my own room started to feel wrong, skewed, like I was looking at them through a distorted lens. On the phone's live feed, my reflection, the one with the figure behind it, turned its head and looked directly into the camera. It slowly raised a single finger to its lips, as if to shush me. Then, in the video, my mouth opened. Wide. Far too wide. Like it was about to speak for me with my voice. I clamped my jaw shut in the real world, my teeth grinding together. 3, 2. The tapping returned for one final gentle knock on the glass. The countdown hit 0. My phone screen went completely black. The room was plunged into darkness. I reached over and flicked off my lamp, hoping the blackness would swallow everything. But when I looked at my window, I could still see my reflection in the faint moonlight. And it was still smiling.